Hey guys and gals, Homestead Prepper. Okay, today's video is going to be about how you can save some money on your mortgage, or you can make money on your mortgage, or you can save some money on your rent. Now, what I'm going to be discussing are some things I've seen other people that I know do, or stuff that my wife and I have done. And but before I get into that, and I need to ramble a little bit about the way it used to be, but I'll pin a comment with where the money saving stuff starts, so you can just skip over that. But what I wanted to say, guys, is we're in a heck of a situation right now. It takes two incomes to sometimes just to make ends meet, or sometimes they don't meet because of the price of homes, the price of home repairs, the price of cars, the price of car repairs. I mean, it's just out of sight. The price of food, the price of gas, the price of incidentals, the price of everything is just going up. But what I want to say to you is, back in the 1960s, my dad got out of the Army. He had an honorable discharge. And one of his first jobs he got was unloading trucks at a warehouse. He used to drive a forklift, and that was one of his first jobs. Now, he ended up, going to school at night under the GI Bill, and he ended up, retiring from the railroad. Okay, so he had a railroad career eventually. But what I wanted to say is he had that job working at a warehouse, and my mom stayed home and watched the kids, and they were able to buy a home in Tampa, in a subdivision, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. I want to say it was about 1,000 square feet. And my mom did not work. Okay? And then after, a little while after they bought that home, they ended up buying one of those late 1960s Dodge Chargers, brand new. And like I said, this is just with my dad working unloading trucks. Now, to show you how the money's changed, if you had a job similar to what he had today and your wife didn't work, I would say it'd be very difficult to buy a home here in Tampa today. And their home, it wasn't brand new, it was only like 5 years old. But you would be very pressed to buy a home today and then go out and buy yourself a brand new Dodge Charger. Okay? So that's what I say. That's how the money has changed. And what I wanted to say too was that home in the 1970s, they put an addition on. Now, they did what they could themselves, and it basically doubled the square footage of the house, or more than doubled the square footage of the house, and I think it went up to like 2,200, 2,300 square feet. But one thing they did is they put in plumbing in the walls in case they needed to turn their house into a duplex, in case they needed to make some money, in case that railroad retirement or Social Security or pension or whatever was not available. They had a plan. They always had a plan, some way to get through some crisis, okay? So they were definitely thinking ahead, and I think this was in the 1980s. My sister had a friend, and her friend's brother, I think he was 29 at the time. He had a home in Temple Terrace, Florida, and he turned his house into a duplex. He rented out the other half, and he lived there for free, virtually. Now, whether he made any money off of that, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what he was doing. But the point is, he was paying a lot less on his mortgage than he would have been paying if he'd just been living there by himself. So I just, like I said, I just want to throw a couple ideas out there, and maybe maybe say, well, Homestead Prepper, man, they won't allow me to turn my house into a duplex where I live. Well, guys, that I understand that. But my wife had a friend, and that friend worked at the post office, and she had a house over there. She had a mobile home in Wesley Chapel, which more closely Angus Valley. And what she did is she rented rooms out from people she knew at work. And she had a 4-bedroom, I think it was a 3-bath home, and I think it was like $400. Now this was years ago. $400 per room, and times 3, that's $1,200, which her mortgage was not $1,200 a month. So she, in effect, was making some money. So anyway, so that's an idea you can you can mull that over. Of course, you have strange people in your house, and there's other things that go along with that, guys. It's not just completely 100% free money. I had a guy well, he grew up in the same neighborhood I did. He's a little bit younger than me, but he inherited the house in that neighborhood, same one my parents, bought their house in. And him and his wife fixed it up, and what they did is they rented it out. And I think when I talked to him, he said he was getting $1,300 a month. And what he did is he had a friend who was renting him a cottage out in Valrico, Florida, for $600 a month. So, guys, if you do the math, that's $700 a month. He was pocketing. Now he still had to pay property tax, and he still had to pay insurance, and he was still coming out to the good every month. So I just wanted to throw those couple ideas at you. It's a no-brainer, but if you rent, the more people you have helping you pay the rent, then the less it is. And what I wanted to say was, I used to be in the apartment business years ago, and we got a service call one day for an apartment, and I think they had a leaky faucet, and we went in there and they had 11 mattresses on the floor and 2 chairs, no TV, and those people split the rent. And I think back then the rent was $650 a month for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in this particular community in Temple Terrace. Now, guys, if you divide 11 into 650, that's less than $60 a month they were paying. And if you split up the utilities, the water, and the electricity, I mean, you could live there for very cheap, and you could definitely get by. Of course, you got 11 people to put up with. But I just wanted to put that out there. Larger numbers, can definitely reduce the price of things. Lastly, I have a video here. I'll show you. Lastly, now this is a video I did years ago about how we lived in a camper and we built our own home. You may be interested in that or not. I'll leave a link to that. But basically what we did, aside from if you didn't want to build your own home, is we saved a huge amount of money in rent, okay, in just a short amount of time. So we already had a couple acres, and we decided to go around and look at used campers, save as much money as possible. And we saw a bunch of campers for sale in the newspaper. There was no Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist at that time. But the campers were really run down, beat up, and dirty. And Mrs. Homestead's prepper decided those weren't the campers that she was interested in. So we ended up finding a late model camper, and that is a 33-foot fifth wheel right there, and we paid $180 a month. Well, and I'll just show you on paper. Okay, let's show you on paper what we saved and what we did. Okay, guys, the rents back then for a 2-bedroom, 2-bath in the Tampa Bay area was around $650 a month, and it took us 4 years and 9 months to build our house, and at the end of the 4 years and 9 months, our house was paid for. But I just wanted to show you, like I said, if you take $650 a month and you multiply it by 4 years and 9 months, which that's 57 months, that's $37,050. Now, the camper we bought, and we didn't put any money down on it, it was $180 a month, and that comes out to $86.40 for 48 months. The last 9 months, we didn't pay anything. We lived out here for free. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, you had to pay property taxes. Well, yeah, that's academic, because even if we had rented an apartment, we still would have had to pay these property taxes out here. But you can look at the savings. You take that $37,000 for that, and you minus it by what we paid for that camper, and that's $28,410 that we put in our house to get to the goal of having it paid for. So you can definitely save some money, guys. Now, you out there, in the YouTube world, maybe you don't have a couple acres. We were fortunate. We were able to save up some money beforehand and buy that. But if that's not an option for you, guys, you could, maybe find a relative or a friend or somebody let you stay in their backyard. And that house that my parents bought back in the day, they had a camper back there for years. Now they went camping with it. As a matter of fact, I did a video about how I got it from my dad. We're still working on it, but nobody would say anything in that neighborhood. Of course, like I said, there's no homeowners association there. There's no deed restrictions. But if you could find somebody and pay them a fair amount, I don't know what a fair amount would be, but you could get some water, electric. Maybe you could pipe into their sewer. You could save a ton of money. Okay. Also, if you don't have that option, I'm going to show you another idea you can do. Alright, this is an RV park that I ride by all the time. You could consider, if you had a camper living in one of these places, if you get it nightly, it's really pricey. But if you get it monthly, then it could be a lot more affordable, than renting it weekly. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there. Alright, I want to say I have no affiliation with this park right here. This is just one that I happen to pick out of the blue because, like I said, I ride by it all the time. And looks like they require a background check. And I noticed I've been thinking about doing this video for a couple weeks, and it was $440 per month. Now it's $490 per month. So it's gone up $50, but that's still cheaper than paying, $1,700 a month in rent somewhere, or paying $2,300 a month in rent, if you had a camper. So it's a little more pricey by the week, and definitely a lot more pricey by the day. But guys, I'm just trying to give you some ideas here. All right, I wanted to add in here that some people might have a stigma about living in a camper, or some people have a stigma about living in a mobile home. But when we moved in here, I had an acquaintance of mine, and he delighted in making fun of me and my wife, living on our own property, building our house, and living in a camper. He lived in these accommodations right here. Which I guess they were better accommodations, a whole lot more expensive, but and those were apartments, by the way. Apartment townhomes is what you saw. And guys, anybody who's going to put you down like that is obviously they have a massive inferiority complex, and the only way that they can feel good about themselves is to put you down. And I've been put down quite a bit by people like that, and now I'm at the age I just don't have time for people like that. So if you need to move into a camper, I just tell people, you don't have time for them. But that's all I wanted to say, and I wanted to show you something else. Well, it may not look like much, but she's got it where it counts. This is a 1984 U-Haul camper, fiberglass, that my wife and I picked up. This is going to be like our cross-country travel, bug-out camper. It needs to be pressure washed, as you see. The inside of it's in pretty good condition. And like I said, it's all fiberglass. It definitely will accommodate me and my wife. That's the air conditioner that goes in the window. And it would accommodate 2 dogs. Of course, I'm down to 1 dog now. I had 1 pass away. But this would work. So, and this is something very light. It's something you could probably tow with, I won't say any car, but the right car that's rated for it. But I just wanted to put that out there, guys. You don't need a big fancy camper, if you're just trying to get by. And this takes up a whole lot less room. Well, there's a ton of ways you can save money on your rent. What I've done is presented a few of them to you. I mean, you could also live in your car. Probably a van would be, more preferred because it's roomier. But I know there's people that live in their cars and they seem to get by fine. I mean, in the end, you'll do what you have to do, and you can find out that you can get by with a lot less, Also, guys, I've got 2 campers right now I'm working on. Those campers could be put on the very back of my property, and they could be rented out, and I could make money that way. That's an option for some of you. If you've got the room and you've got, an extra camper or 2 or 3 or whatever, that's a money-making operation right there. So that's an idea. The other thing I want to say, guys, is this camper right here. We ended up, after we got done with it, and that was 2011, we basically gave it away for $100 to a family. They took it up to Lake Panosovsky. They had a fish camp up there. And from what I understand now, this camper is up in Salt Lake City, Utah. And those people have been living in it ever since. So they've been living the camper life and saving a lot of money. So if you have any other ideas about how to save money on your rent, your mortgage, or how to make money, please leave me a comment. Okay, I wanted to add in there too that if you in Florida, living in a camper is legal if you have electricity and you have water. Okay. Now, if you are in a Gestapo homeowners deed restricted area, then that's not going to work out, guys. But I just want to put that out there. Most places in Florida, if you live in a camper, they don't seem to have a problem with it. I would check with the jurisdiction you're thinking about buying it in. My wife and I were up in Burnsville, North Carolina recently, and we were in the building department, and they had a thing up there that says you cannot live in a shed. Okay. Now, I did a video years ago about buying a shed from Home Depot and finishing out living it. Well, they've got rules against that, and that's off the beaten path town up there. But I just wanted to put that out there. And I had a guy that I was working with. He flew in from I think it was Pennsylvania, and he had bought 2 acres out in the country, and he bought a camper, and he went to set it up out there, and the county wouldn't let him live in that camper on that property. Now, I don't know what town it was or what county, but it was somewhere in Pennsylvania. So guys, if you're thinking about doing this and buying your own property, you need to check it out before you take the plunge. Okay? All right. Homestead Prepper out.